Alright, hello internet, welcome back to the Cozy Representative YouTube channel. So not a lot of people may get this from my channel or know about this, but I grew up a very big Wiz Khalifa fan.
Black stripe, yellow paint, the niggas scared of it, but
Now, Wiz Khalifa is an artist who's like, you know, he has some worldwide hits, See You Again, Young, Wild and Free, Black and Yellow, but like his real core audience kind of comes down to this. He's a very time and place kind of guy. If you were in high school between 2009 and like 2013, 2014 or so, if you were around high school, late middle school, high school in that era, and you were into, you know, getting into smoking pot, you were in some way, shape, or form, to some degree, into Wiz Khalifa. It just kind of went hand in hand. He was just around, he was the stoner rapper, he was the new Snoop Dogg, right, of the era. He's my generation Snoop Dogg. When I was in high school, around 2011, 2012 or so, you know, I joined in and all my friends started getting into smoking weed and just naturally got into Wiz Khalifa. And I got like more into Wiz Khalifa than like any of my peers did. I was like really into that guy, specifically the mixtape Kush and Orange Juice.
ask me if I plan to be rooftop chilling with some pretty ass women you be glad to meet.
Which was, you know, kind of was and still is mostly known as his best project by like fans of his. Some people might say it's Taylor Alderdice, which came out in 2012. I'm a Kush and OJ kind of guy. So Wiz Khalifa has been an artist that has interested me from then until now. Not only because I like his music, I think it's a nice vibe, I really like him as a person. One thing that has always interested me about his presence as an artist and his trajectory, basically like the type of artist he is a certain archetype of artist that like I'm into. And basically it's the same archetype. I'm gonna throw something at you for a second, just bear with me. It's the same archetype as the rock band Weezer, okay? Wiz Khalifa and Weezer are perceived by their superfans in a really similar way. We're both artists, the fans are like, the really good stuff was the old stuff, and at a certain point, this artist basically like sold out, for lack of a better term, you know, started playing the commercial game, and after that, everybody, all the superfans still want to root for them, and there's moments of like really good stuff here and there, but overall, everyone has a different opinion on what albums are good and what albums are bad. Some people just like it all, some people think it's all trash. After a certain point, you know, it's this idea that this was this once great artist where everything they did was just the best of the best, and then after a certain point, something happened, they went more mainstream, and it was like all the air got sucked out of them after a certain point. For Weezer, it was after Pinkerton and the Green Album and beyond. For Wiz Khalifa, his Blue Album and Pinkerton was Kush and Orange Juice, and like all his mixtapes before that, legendary mixtape run he went on. And when his major label breakthrough album Rolling Papers came out in 2011, although nowadays most people would look back and just be like, yeah, Rolling Papers, that was a classic. Big album, that was Wiz's big moment. At the time, there was a very strong backlash from Wiz's like core underground fan base, and I was there. I remember it at the time. I'm not just saying this, like I saw it. I experienced it. To some people, Rolling Papers was heartbreaking because it was this once like fresh, lyrical, you know, exciting, young, energetic rapper, right? Who, like I said, on Rolling Papers, to many people at the time, sounded like he got the air sucked out of him. He's like tired and lazy now. He's not very good at rapping. Most of the music is like just milquetoast major label 2011 pop rap garbage, which people were, you know, sick of by that point.
It's going down in the spit, say concrete. We gon' party all night, no sleep.
So basically where I'm going with this is, I have been revisiting a lot of Wiz Khalifa lately. He recently dropped Cushion Orange Juice Part 2, which is actually way better than I and a lot of people expected. You know, again, going back to the perceived decline in quality in Wiz music. You know, his projects can be very hit or miss, but Cushion Orange Juice 2, I'm like, my love for Wiz is revitalized. And I've been going back to like Rolling Papers and a lot of his old mixtapes like Flight School and Star Power and all that, and kind of reevaluating them for the first time in a while. And it's been interesting to go back to Rolling Papers specifically because it felt like it was a very hated on album at the time, even though it hit #2 on the Billboard 200. It sold like a you know, freaking crazy amount of copies first week and beyond. Like, it's a platinum album, and one of his biggest and most recognizable songs, Black and Yellow, is on it. It's probably from like a mainstream perspective the most recognized and known Wiz Khalifa album. But it got like hate and backlash from the core fans. So I kind of want to go through in this video Wiz's like mixtape era and just look at from the perspective and from the vantage point of like 15 years having gone by. Let's kind of revisit what happened to Wiz going from Cushion OJ to Rolling Papers, and even into like his album after Rolling Papers, O and IFC. Like, what was going on then artistically? Was he really as bad as like a lot of people made him out to be? Did he really fall off almost instantly as soon as he made it into the mainstream? I don't necessarily think so, but I can understand why. I don't know. Let's get into this.
Couple reasons behind the name Rolling Papers. Phew. Where do I start? It's just like everything, you know, all of my work that I've done rolled up, you know, into one project. I feel like I've been through a lot of changes as far as, you know, my sound and finding my fans, and, you know, just me being as versatile as I am, it's just bringing all that variety together, you know, and it's all like recent material too. So, you know, that makes it really, really good as well. That's one of the meanings. I don't like to get into all of it every time. It's still like taking on life, you know, every day.
So to the average like mainstream music consumer, as far as they knew, Rolling Papers was the very first album by Wiz Khalifa, period. If you were a little bit deeper into like rap music at the time, you know, most people were starting to know Cushion Orange Juice, as well as the Cabin Fever mixtape, which came out 2010, 2011. That's what kind of like really started blowing him up and putting him on the map in the underground.
Get this weed, I'll show you how to do this. My excuses, I'm in Cali, so my smoke's highly exclusive.
And then Rolling Papers was the first like mainstream smash shit. Unbeknownst to a lot of people, he actually had an extensive back catalog of mostly mixtapes at that point. He was like 10 or 11 projects deep. He had already basically gone through the whole career arc of like most artists through their entire career before he got to Rolling Papers and blew up in the mainstream. So Wiz actually first got signed to an independent record label called Rostrum Records all the way back in 2005 when he was in high school. Rostrum was a, you know, up-and-coming label out of Pittsburgh. Wiz was also from Pittsburgh. He put out his first mixtape, the original Prince of the City, Welcome to Pistolvania. It came out in 2005.
My weight's up, how I handle these beats, so wake up. I'm the man in these streets. Cause Wiz Khalifa got that fast to that slow flow. Yeah, cash getting mojo. Yeah. Say a rap, niggas play it back. They like, oh no.
And this was part of like the part one era of Wiz shit. Was the first mixtape, Prince of the City, as well as his first, he at the time in an interview called it a street album. It's regarded today as his first debut studio album. It was more of like an independent album, I guess you would call it at the time, Show and Prove, which that one was in 2006.
You know the game chose me, ain't nothing changed. This is what the game told me. Listen close here, youngin'.
And these first two releases are actually like a lot better than you would expect them to be. There's a certain type of old head Wiz fan that would tell you that this is his best stuff, which I think is kind of funny because he was like still in high school. He was still figuring out, you know, who he was and all that. Very different from the Wiz we know on Rolling Papers. Back then, he rapped different. His voice was a lot different. His voice was deeper somehow. He rapped with a deeper voice. It was way more classic hip hop sounding, as well as you could tell that like G Unit was the popular stuff at the time. It was kind of like a local rapper version of that. But the first mixtape and the first Wiz album are a lot better than they have any business being, in my opinion. Show and Prove specifically, I listen to that one a lot. I like that one.
I gotta let them know. Now put the business on the nigga, really thinking they'll be feeling naughty when they come and test the flow. Cause I'm not for the games.
Even though he was still very much a local rapper at this point and like virtually unknown outside of Pittsburgh, somehow, I guess off of the local buzz of the Show and Prove album in 2006, Wiz got signed to Warner Brothers Records. What?
What? For sure. So I've been doing my thing since I was real little. Ever since I was about 9 years old, I've been writing. And I put my first album together when I was about 13 years old, all on my own. I made all my own beats just because I knew this was what I wanted to do. With the Warner situation, like I said, I was always doing my thing on my own and just recording at the studio, my home studio, ID Lab, which is in Pittsburgh. I get all my beats from them as well. Through recording there, I met Benji, who was doing some work with L.A. Reid and stuff like that, and had his own label, Rostrum Records. Benji's been here somewhere.
He's hiding today, yeah. In the cut, Benji.
Yeah, Rostrum Records. He picked me up when I was about 16. And really just started working with me and started putting me in, getting me a lot of good press. And I stayed in the studio, stayed working hard. And then through the buzz that Benji's label, Rostrum Records, and my music helped to create, you know what I'm saying, Warner got interested and they jumped right on it. And, you know what I mean, now we made it official. You know what I'm saying?
It's your boy Wiz Khalifa, man, the Prince of the City of Still. At 412 is in the building, you dug. We up here at NYC, you know what I'm saying, doing it real big. Shout out to Rostrum Records, man, Warner Brothers, you smell me? City of Still in the building, man. Y'all know y'all about to get it.
I feel like it was more of an artist development deal that they signed him to, where like, we're going to sign you and then we're going to kind of just figure you out over a few years, send you into a bunch of different co-writes, and then we'll figure out your big smash later. But he did get signed to Warner Brothers, which is pretty crazy. His first project that was released when he was on Warner was not through Warner, but another underground mixtape via Rostrum Records, Grow Season, in 2007, which is kind of like more of the original Wiz sound, the more old school lyrical hip hop.
Not a rookie in the game, I'm a certified pro. Getting Buzz Bunny money, I'm a Warner Brothers, so if they haven't heard about it.
Grow Season, he's starting to like kind of come into his own a little bit more, but the real the first really good Wiz project was Prince of the City 2 in 2007. This mixtape, I think Wiz himself said in an interview that this is the best Wiz Khalifa mixtape.
What do you think is the best Wiz mixtape of all time?
Prince of the City 2.
Prince of the City 2.
Hell yeah. See? Niggas don't even know about that one.
This is really he was still like the old school Wiz, like he wasn't like part of the like swag internet rap stuff that he would get into later.
Niggas don't even know about that one. They caught up in like the internet era. Chevy just sent me a picture of the Prince of the City 2 CD, my nigga. They don't even got CDs no more. So, I mean, they do, but like, they don't got CD players.
Where you gonna play them?
But this is definitely the first truly like great project of his. 2007 was also the year of the first two proper major label Wiz singles released by Warner. Pittsburgh Sound, which was a slightly reworked version of the first track on Show and Prove, as well as Youngin' on His Grind. Neither of those singles really did anything though. They didn't chart or anything. It was just kind of the starting point for him. 2008 rolls around, and this is where shit starts to pop for Wiz Khalifa. So a couple changes happened for Wiz Khalifa in 2008. 2008 was a leveling up year for sure. The first of which, that was a big deal, was Wiz's next mixtape, Star Power, came out.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Wiz Khalifa, man, the captain of the spaceship, the W and Swag, man, here with Monster Long TV. You already know it is. I'm a monster myself, man. A young hero where I'm from as well. Yeah, got that Star Power mixtape out. Make sure y'all go cop that, man. It's 26 all new gems. Straight heat, straight swag, man. Get it in your life, you dumb hoe.
So Star Power, I see this one as a real start of a new chapter for Wiz after Prince of the City. First of all, stylistically, this mixtape still had a little bit of the original Wiz sound, the more classic hip-hop kind of thing. But Star Power sees him really, you know, stretching his legs out into different styles. There's a lot more of kind of a pop influence, more R&B, more kind of the T-Pain / Soulja Boy influence was making its way onto Wiz, but in a good way. Wiz really Wiz almost did T-Pain better than T-Pain on some moments, like on this mixtape and his mixtapes around this era. Also, like, his just personal style, and I guess what you would say as the character Wiz Khalifa started to really fully develop here on Star Power. This is the first mixtape where he's repping Taylor Gang, that's his crew, his family, which consisted of Kev the Hustler at the time, Wiz's right-hand man, who's been his right-hand man pretty much the whole time until now. He's now known as Chevy Woods, another cool Pittsburgh rapper, stoner dude. But yeah, he's repping Taylor Gang now. You know, he's got the tight white shirt and the Chuck Taylor shoes, his outfit, you know, the camo shorts and everything. That version of Wiz really kind of makes a debut here on Star Power, as well as, you know, Wiz had always rapped about weed. There was always weed in Wiz's songs, but I feel like here on Star Power, this is when it's decidedly like, I'm a stoner rapper now. I'm smoking weed and I'm telling you about it a lot. I love Star Power, one of my favorite Wiz mixtapes. Also, what went along with this mixtape and this era of Wiz was entering the internet era, the blog era, datpiff.com, mixtapes, all that shit. Wiz Khalifa was a big, heavy hitter in the blog era. Star Power was kind of the start of that, and him really being an early like pioneer of just the internet era in general.
And what else I got popping? MySpace.com/Wiz Khalifa, WIZKHALIFA, Prince of the City, man. That's me. But it's all about Star Power, Monster Long TV, man. Cop that Star Power. What else? Oh yeah, make sure y'all check out my blogs and my little YouTube online little shit where y'all see the star life. You can listen to my music and hear my, you know what I mean, really see my life, you know what I'm saying? So YouTube/Taylor Gang ENT. It's Taylor Gang or kill yourself. Monster Long TV, fly or die, boy. Star Power.
Good luck, homie. Yo, is that go?
Soulja Boy is definitely known and given credit for being like the first like big mainstream artist, and definitely the first rapper that really utilized early social media at the time, websites like YouTube and MySpace, and really connecting with the fans one-on-one. If Soulja Boy was the first, Wiz Khalifa was like the second or third or fourth dude to do it, and he started doing that right around here on Star Power. So that's basically what was going on in the... Okay, so starting here, there's like 2 Wiz lanes that he was occupying at the same time, right? This is where it gets interesting. There's the underground mixtape internet Wiz side of him, and then there's the like major label hit chasing, trying to be a mainstream artist lane that Wiz was in as well. He was essentially trying to do both, and kind of was for a little bit, because the same year that Star Power came out and he was doing shit on the internet and all that, he was still signed to Warner Brothers, and he put out what was his biggest single on Warner Brothers in 2008, which was a song called Say Yeah. It's kind of a goofy song. It's like this Euro dance song. I don't even know what the original song is, but it's some like Euro dance, like party kind of 2000s frat anthem with like Wiz Khalifa rapping over it. I don't know.
One night in town, my team around, throwing money, then watch them hit the ground.
It's a fun song. It's a banger. And it wasn't like a major hit, like chart topper or anything, but it did get some radio play, and, you know, the music video kind of was making the rounds through the resources that Warner had. So Wiz was starting to make a name via the Say Yeah single. He also had another single on Warner that year called Make It Hot, which was another kind of like party rap song. Not as impactful as a single as Say Yeah, but I actually like Make It Hot a lot. lot. This is a fun song. So 2008 really kind of, you know, gets the ball rolling for Wiz and where he's going in the future. You can kind of start to see him really come into his own, and you can see where he kind of wants to go with it. 2009 probably musically might be my favorite year for Wiz Khalifa. It's hard to say because obviously Kush and OJ came out the year after, and that's like my favorite Wiz mixtape. But 2009, he really had the game on lock. Check this out, right? So mixtape-wise, again, we're going back to the lane of Wiz being the hot underground dude, doing visionary new shit on the internet and releasing mixtapes. He had a crazy mixtape run following Star Power in 2008. He went into 2009. The first thing he put out at the top of the year was Flight School, which, if Kush and OJ is my favorite Wiz mixtape, Flight School is probably number 2. This one really like means a lot to me, man. This is a great mixtape.
I'm feeling great, man. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful, man. Happy to have you here, man.
It's great to be here, dude. Like, I mean, it's just wonderful. You don't even know how I feel right now.
You came here a couple years ago.
Yep.
When you were promoting the big record.
Yep.
That was the record. Go ahead.
That was the record.
And then kind of everyone was like, well, where's Khalifa? Like, where's he been? And I was like, yo, the kid's been online.
Yeah.
Like, heavy with the online community.
I've been grinding. I've been getting my money, doing a lot of shows and stuff like that, and really connecting with my fans, figuring out my fan base, who I'm making my music for, who enjoys it the most, and what they're getting from my music. And, you know, ever since I really tapped into that and then found my internet presence, I ran with it.
Describe the evolution of your style. Like, during the Prince of the City thing, it was champ hoodies, the fitted was baggy, tall T-shirts, and now, like, you know, the more fitted look, the backpack, you know what I mean? It's like this, it's almost like this, no disrespect, this kind of nerd look is the new cool look.
I love the word that you just used. I just got 3 nerds today. I am a freaking nerd. Nah, but really what it is,
real, though.
It's like when I first started making my music, you almost have to do, you know, what people are already used to even catch their ears or to get them to consider you. So I had to come, you know, hard, a little bit edgy, a little bit, you know, rough around the edges.
East Coast guy.
Yeah, exactly. And then as I started making music more, started doing my thing more, becoming more comfortable, and really not caring what other people thought and really just want to do my own thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, okay, this is me, and I really found myself, so I ran with it. Like, my glasses are prescription, so I wear my, you know what I mean? I started wearing my glasses, and my clothes fit because I'm a skinny dude, and like, you know what I mean? Like, that's, when you get older, that's just where you go with it anyway, I feel. And I felt like I just put that into my music. I was younger back then, so I grew up now, and, you know, this is, like you said, the new nerdy me.
I love just the cover of the thing and the vibe, the direction of the whole project. This is one where he really started to hone in on his pop side, his pop influence and his R&B type stuff. He's doing a lot more singing on this one than he had ever done before and really pulls it off well. Some really amazing songs on Flight School. Followed that up in the summer of 2009, linking with a true underground legend. Well, it's hard to say underground too, because, you know, he was working with, like, he was on No Limit and he did stuff with Lil Wayne beforehand. He had been you know, Currency is who I'm talking about. Legendary, fucking cool New Orleans stoner rapper, vibe rapper guy. Wiz linked up with him in the summer of 2009, and they made a collab mixtape called How Fly, one of the coolest Wiz projects to date, and one of the coolest Currency projects too, man. I feel like Currency really taught Wiz about, like, being a stoner vibe rapper, you know, and like a lifestyle rapper. You know, it's also that, like, old school Snoop Dogg G-Funk West Coast kind of flavor started getting more in Wiz's bag here on How Fly with Currency. Just a really awesome tape from Wiz and one of his coolest moments. And then the final mixtape of 2009 was Burn After Rolling, which is really just another great Wiz mixtape. I kind of see this one as being like the bridge between Flight School and Kush and OJ. Burn After Rolling is, if that makes sense.
Coming up, you got the mixtape, Burn After Rolling. Can you tell the concept? Is there going to be a concept behind this mixtape? Like, what's the whole vibe of the mixtape?
It's not really too much of a concept. It's just to get some more music out there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I put out Flight School in
June or May maybe, and then I put out How Fly in August, so it's October now. In October, I just feel like it's time for some new music. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that people might have heard on the internet before that you didn't have like download links to, like some of the freestyles that I did. And then there's a lot of just, you know, brand new songs on there or stuff that I put on the trailer. Like I tried to with this one, I really it's only coming out on the internet, so I tried to like pretty much have every song on there. You've seen it or heard it somewhere, like whether in a YouTube or a day-to-day or, you know what I'm saying, like somewhere.
Just a crazy mixtape run all the way back from Prince of the City 2 until Burn After Rolling. Really insane. So despite the success in the underground in 09, switching back over to Wiz's other lane, mainstream Wiz, or at the time attempting to be mainstream Wiz, things were going a little sour. He, you know, was going into 09 off of the success of the Say Yeah single, and he was putting together an album that was going to be for Warner Brothers, which was supposed to be called First Flight.
Nah, the first single was Say Yeah. The second single was Make It Hot. We about to do the video for that.
We'll go
we doing
for Make It Hot?
Yeah, we doing Make It Hot right now. And we pumping that on radio, doing a video for that. And Go Hard or Go Home, that's going to be on the album First Flight. Make sure y'all check out for that. That's dropping the top of next year on Warner Brother Records with Uptick, Kev, Black, Tom, Marley, Craig, all y'all over there who put on for my whole project, man. Kim, everybody, man. Let's go, man. The story here, man. Taylor Gang can kill yourself. Swag, boy.
In mid-09, he actually got dropped from Warner Brothers. Basically, like, the way he puts it, they just didn't really know what to do with his image and his sound and his project.
What made you stop with Warner Brothers?
I really just, you know, I think they took that Say Yeah, the single, and they tried to make me into that type of artist. They tried to kind of mold me into that.
Like a commercial type?
Not really commercial, because I have commercial appeal, but more like just a pop, you know, dance artist. They tried to be like, oh yeah, well he's from Pittsburgh, and what they do is take dad songs and flip them, and that's not what we do. That was just like, you know, just some cool shit that I did on accident. So, you know, that was what it was, and we worked through that, and I'm where I'm at now.
Is there any other label you're thinking about signing with?
The ones with the most money.
And by the end of 09, Wiz took all the stuff that was kind of supposed to be going towards his big Warner Brothers debut and independently released his second studio album called Deal or No Deal, the title being, you know, a reflection of we're going to do this record deal or no deal.
Talk about the album a little bit because the press release just came out.
Yeah, the album is Deal or No Deal. It's dropping in stores and online as well. This is gonna be my first, you know, real album that's in stores that I'm like trying to move the units of and shit. So that's gonna be pretty interesting just to see how, you know, people react to that. And yeah, it's gonna be a combination of like some classic old stuff off of mixtapes. I think it's like four old mixtape joints, some stuff that would have made those mixtapes, and a couple new joints too. So just putting it together, and it's just like a nice body of work, something that people should hear. It's like good material, some of the stuff that I was working on for my album with Warner. You know what I'm saying? Because we were still doing a lot of that stuff in-house, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we still have a lot of that material. So we decided to put that out. And yeah, man, just make it, just let people know that we got tons of good music, you know what I mean?
So, studio album-wise, not talking mixtapes, talking like the mainstream Wiz, Deal or No Deal is definitely one of my favorite Wiz albums for sure. It's a really cool encapsulation of like a polished, put-together version of all the cool different sounds and styles he was dropping on his mixtapes up to that point. But it's also a little bit like, you can tell it's almost more of a compilation, if you will, of like songs that were being worked on for his Warner album. There's a few different mixtape songs that are on it that were already released, and just kind of some random stuff here and there. Like, it wasn't like a full cohesive project. You can also kind of tell that on the first half of the album, you can tell from his voice and the style at the time that that was like 2008 Star Power Wiz, and then by the last half of the album, that was like early '09 Flight School Wiz. So you can kind of see the progression. I can also, from Warner Brothers' perspective, I can see how it's a little bit disjointed and all over the place. And I can see from a record label's perspective being like, yeah, I kind of don't really know what to do with this. I hear the potential, but, you know, it's not really like the big shebang. And sliding into 2010, with the release of Kush and OJ in April of 2010, we really see Wiz blowing up bigger in the rap world and getting more money too than he ever did on Warner Brothers on his own independently without a deal. Kush and Orange Juice came out in spring of 2010, and you know, I could make a whole video about how awesome Kush and OJ is. Like I said, it's my favorite mixtape by Wiz. I think it's like the peak of Wiz, really, if you think about it. Like it's like well, I won't say his peak, but I'll say it's like his finest work. I think it's his finest work. I don't think he's topped it. I don't think he'll ever top this moment, and that's not a diss, but it was just one of those really special moments, you know? And basically, in a nutshell, the Kush and Orange Juice tape, and the Kush and Orange Juice tape is really what broke Wiz into being like, this guy is the next up, you know what I'm saying?
So, you know, Kush and Orange Juice coming out. Yo,
Yes, sir.
what can you tell us? Like, what's coming?
It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna change. It's gonna change music. People are gonna throw their CDs away. Whatever they were working on, they're gonna stop working on that, and they're gonna work on something else. Because Kush and Orange Juice is gonna change how they feel about it. People are gonna be high as fuck. They're gonna smoke more weed than they ever smoked, and they're gonna wake up fucked up every day, no matter what they have.
So it's kind of like a concept mixtape in that the point of it is that it's for a wake and bake session. You know, the sound, as opposed to like the in-your-face, flashy kind of club sound that Wiz did a lot of the time before this, Kush and OJ is laid back, it's calm, it's cool. It's a lot more in that old school G-Funk pocket, which really hadn't been like updated in a fresh, new, cool way until Wiz came along with Kush and OJ and some of the other, like, you know, stoner rapper guys around this time. But Kush and OJ was definitely important for that whole movement. And yeah, it's just like an incredible mixtape. It comes out in 2010, and you know, Wiz is just like on top, absolutely killing it in 2010 after the release of Kush and OJ. Here's where Rolling Papers comes in, and here's where the whole point of this video comes in, the whole divide of like Wiz fell off on Rolling Papers, Wiz went mainstream pop on Rolling Papers. It's a pop rap album. It's not as good as he was. Here's where the whole fucking, you know, he was on this, he had his two lanes like going steadily perfectly, but once the mainstream side of him popped off on Rolling Papers, like nothing was the same after that. You know what I mean? I think one thing Wiz didn't consider, I think he thought he could be this mainstream star, but also be the cool underground guy at the same time and still release his mixtapes and have the love from those fans while also having a worldwide audience. Once you become a mainstream, like as big as Wiz got, like once you do that, the underground people are gonna look at you differently forever. Like, especially back then. People were more pretentious back then. Music communities were way more cutthroat, hip-hop included, and I don't think Wiz was like prepared for that. I think I think he just thought he could do both, and people were always just gonna love him and understand what he was doing. That was not the case. But looking back now at the timing of all this, and listening to Rolling Papers now, with the like perspective of all this time going by and revisiting Deal or No Deal as well, I really understand Rolling Papers a lot better. And like, I understand what he was doing, but it also makes more sense to me of where shit went wrong. Let me unpack this real quick. So Rolling Papers comes out in 2011, highly anticipated.
And I want to take it to the next level with this shit. So I really just thank y'all for letting me take it to the next level with y'all and being true fans. I'm really growing with a nigga, man. So this is the album, man. This is Rolling Papers.
It's off of the extreme huge underground hype of Cushion OJ and another mixtape he put out early 2011 called Cabin Fever. And people are hyped for the Wiz album, and people are fresh off of Cushion OJ and Cabin Fever. And what they get is Rolling Papers, which is really a red Solo Cup, like college frat bro oriented fucking, spring break party anthem of an album. Essentially, that was at least the perception of it at the time. And yes, I would say a good half of this album, songs like No Sleep, songs like Wake Up, songs like Roll Up, are absolutely college frat bro anthems that, like, hip-hop heads and like stoners who wanted more of the G-Funk cool guy Cushion OJ sound were absolutely not rocking with. That's like half of Rolling Papers. The other half of Rolling Papers are songs like Star of the Show or The Race, which was like Wiz doing more of an updated version of like the kind of flight school era mixtape bag. That was definitely a part of Rolling Papers as well. But overall, as early as like 2011, as early as the release of Rolling Papers, which was a massive success, by the way. Black and Yellow, the first single, got released in late 2010, and that single started blowing up immediately. Nobody on Wiz's team was expecting that. The album ended up hitting #2 on Billboard, sold a whole bunch of freaking copies first week, platinum album, like huge album in the mainstream world, huge mainstream success. But as early as like just after the release of that album, people in the hip-hop community and old school Wiz fans were saying that Wiz fell off on this album. He delivered like watered down, lame major label trash, and he's fallen off and he lost that spark. The thing that I've realized that kind of made me go like, huh, I found out recently that Wiz actually recorded Rolling Papers in spring of 2010, which was right around the time that Cushion Orange Juice was released, and only a few months after the Deal or No Deal independent album was put out. The Deal or No Deal album is really, if you look back at it, it has, a really great vibe from Wiz, some great classic Wiz songs, but like from a mainstream marketing point of view, it really is fucking douchebag, college frat bro, Friday night party music. And not even like party rap like DMX, but like pop rap. The album is very melodic. Deal or No Deal, I'm talking about, 2009. It's very melodic. It's very Red Solo Cup. It's very frat bro, very pop rap. There was this perception that like Cushion Orange Juice happened, and then somewhere between 2010 and 2011, like the major labels changed Wiz, because Wiz got, I forgot to mention this, but Wiz got re-signed to a different major, Atlantic Records, for Rolling Papers. There's this narrative that there's this gap between Cushion OJ and Rolling Papers where Wiz fucking, I don't know, joined the Illuminati and, got rich and famous and couldn't make good music anymore. That's not true. Rolling Papers was recorded, like, Wiz was the cool Cushion Orange Juice guy when he made Rolling Papers in he made that shit in spring of 2010. And the pop rap college, kind of dumbed down party music Wiz that people were just getting hip to on Rolling Papers, that people thought was his first time doing that on Rolling Papers, that's what Deal or No Deal was. It was just a little more underdeveloped on Deal or No Deal. Like, Wiz was already a college frat bro, like Red Solo Cup party rapper in his mainstream lane already, which was separate from his mixtape lane. But the thing was, I think, again, going back to what I was saying, Wiz thought he could keep these two lanes separate. Nah, other people weren't looking at it like that. People were looking at Rolling Papers as like the follow-up to essentially Cushion Orange Juice. I know that Cabin Fever came out in between, but you know what I'm saying. Like, Cushion Orange Juice was so hype. People were not willing to tolerate the radio songs on Rolling Papers, as well as just the more accessible, cleaned up Wiz vibe that he was putting out on that album. Because here's the thing about Rolling Papers, is like, he raps on it, and it's definitely like in the hip-hop realm for sure, but really as a whole, like sonically, and I'm not saying this as a diss, but it's a pop album. You know what I'm saying? It's a pop rap album, but mostly it is a pop album. Like, in the way that, like, this album is way more comparable to the album Overexposed by Maroon 5, which Wiz did a feature on Payphone, than Rolling Papers is comparable to Doggy Style or Illmatic or any rap album, right? Even like Get Rich or Die Tryin', more recent stuff for the time. Like, Wiz was really consciously trying to be a mainstream guy who wasn't just under the hip-hop umbrella. But again, people weren't like willing to accept that. And even I myself saw Rolling Papers as this like fall off moment at the time. Like, yeah, this isn't as good as his older stuff. Now, with a bunch of time having passed, like 14 years since that album, I listen to Rolling Papers now, and it's actually like way better to me now than it was at the time. Like, I don't think I even listened to it much at the time because I was just like, this isn't, you know, I'd rather listen to Cushion OJ or Flight School or whatever. I do, and this might just be like a personal thing, but I have more of an appreciation for a well put together, like polished major label pop type album than I did when I was a kid. And Rolling Papers is really a perfect, like if you were trying to make a mainstream arena stoner pop rap album, I can't think of a better example of that than Rolling Papers, you know? So there's merit to this thing. And looking back now, it still retains way more of Wiz's classic like mixtape sound than people made it out to be at the time. Like, I really think songs like Star of the Show and Cameras and Rooftops with Currency on there, he could have had no songs like that. This album could have been a full-on like Jay Sean, you know, type of album, like just straight up radio pop. It wasn't. It was still, you know, it still had all of Wiz's trademark shit that he was talking about on Flight School and How Fly and all that. It was just like put together more. It was packaged in a more, you know, cohesive, put together way. I do think this album is very cohesive too. It's multifaceted. It has a lot of different styles on there. But unlike Deal or No Deal, it all sounds like it's on the same album. I don't know. I understand why a lot of people hated on this album at the time and people counted him out after this. But I think, like, revisiting this album now, I think a lot of that hate was unwarranted. And I think he did a way better job on Rolling Papers than people may give him credit for, even though it was hugely successful and it like doesn't really fucking matter, right? Because who cares what people said about it? It's, you know, it's in the mainstream realm, the most recognizable and like well-known Wiz Khalifa album, you know what I mean, is Rolling Papers. Am I wrong? Is that wrong? You know what I'm saying? Like, he accomplished a lot on this thing. It was his crossover moment. He did it. He succeeded in the mainstream, which was what he wanted to do anyways. But yeah, it kind of sacrificed the other side of things, which was his more underground fans. I don't know. And the perceived Wiz fall-off era, you know, we're all recoiling from the aftermath effects of Rolling Papers, continued on into 2012, and Wiz even addressed some of this himself. He actually wrote a letter to his fans in early 2012, which was put up on his Tumblr, and this is just a small excerpt from like a really long blog post, but he says, "I remember when I made Kush and Orange Juice, I listened to it and knew I had created a new genre that would change music. The mistake I made on Rolling Papers was thinking it was time to move on from that genre, not knowing that it had impacted people so much. The album did great numbers, but creatively wasn't my best work. No regrets, though. We live and learn." And then he goes on to talk about his next mixtape that he was working on. "So for my fans' sake and my own personal enjoyment, I've gone further into the world we've created and elaborated on our genre with the mixtape Taylor Alderdice, and of course my sophomore album ONIFC. I'm so confident in the artistry and creativity of these projects because so much living went along with them. These aren't songs aimed to be hits or widely accepted or even understood. It's for people who live like us and can relate, and informative to those who can't." And And yeah, he put out the Taylor Alderdice mixtape in early 2012, and that mixtape was a success. Highly regarded as, a lot of people's favorite Wiz mixtape. Even a lot of people put it over Kush and OJ. A lot of people call it his best work. A lot of people kind of think of it as a sequel to Kush and OJ. It's almost like the grown-up Kush and OJ. He really did bring back that sound. And I don't know, just he gave the people what they wanted on Taylor Alderdice, really. But even still, even regardless of that, in 2012, a lot of people still counted Wiz out. Despite that, he put out another mixtape later that year, Cabin Fever 2. I feel like Cabin Fever 2 didn't get a very good response at all. A lot of people just thought it was meaningless, like just vapid fucking party music, which it kind of is, but I actually like the vibes on Cabin Fever 2. This is another one of those ones that I've been revisiting now and being like, oh, this is better than I remember it being at the time and better than people gave it credit for at the time. And that mixtape led into his next album, which is it's technically his fourth album, but in the mainstream sense, it's really his second album, ONIFC, which was also put out on Atlantic Records, which again, I loved ONIFC from the jump. And again, I think ONIFC is actually a very underrated Wiz project in general. I think this one really corrects a lot of the errors that a lot of people felt like were made on Rolling Papers. It's not Wiz trying to do someone else's bag, if that makes sense, to be more mainstream, which it felt like he was doing on Rolling Papers to a lot of people at the time. ONIFC is more of what people actually, I think, wanted out of a major label Wiz project, which was a more cleaned up version of his mixtape style. But it wasn't just a song or two here and there of the cleaned up mixtape sound like it was on Rolling Papers. ONIFC was kind of like a graduated old school Wiz mixtape. It definitely has moments of him being a lazy rapper. That was one of the big complaints as well, not only for Wiz's shift in sound, but also that now he was just lazy on the mic, wasn't really a rapper anymore, just kind of talked about smoking weed over beats, which is definitely a thing here on ONIFC. He did sound tired. He did sound like he was smoking a little too much weed. I mean, he had been working, he had been on the road constantly grinding hard for years up until that point. And smoking a shit ton of pot the whole time. I wouldn't be surprised if he was fucking tired by 2012, and that's why he sounds a little sleepier on the mic. But again, that was a big criticism, but ONIFC is a lot more stoner. It's darker, it's tougher. There's no pop rap sing-songy shit on it, at least as far as I can remember. It still kind of got overshadowed by the people who wouldn't let go of the idea that he had fallen off after Rolling Papers and nothing was going to be as good as his older stuff. It got kind of his 2012 output got lost in that sauce because the reaction from Rolling Papers was almost that strong. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think Wiz could have put out theoretically the greatest album of all time in 2012, and it still would have been doubted on by people because of the Rolling Papers fiasco. I don't know. So I'm going to cut this off there. This stuff is all just interesting for me to look back on. I still really love Wiz's music. I've been connecting to it lately again. Wiz is one of those artists where I'm not always listening to Wiz. In fact, years will go by without listening to any Wiz or checking up on his music. From high school to now, I've always been like that. But every few years, I get back into him and I'm like, oh shit, remember all this great music. And every time, his discography and his catalog is so extensive that every time I do get back into him, there's more music to listen to that I didn't even hear the last time around. He has so many projects, so I'm always discovering new elements of Wiz. And like I said, looking back at his mainstream peak, now that we're so many years away from it, and remembering what people said about him at the time and the perception of him at the time and his place in the mainstream at the time, because that was really his peak in the early 2010s. It's interesting to look back on it now with a different perspective and realizing that it wasn't as bad as people fucking said it was. Rolling Papers is a banger. I don't care. I'm not afraid to say it. I like it. I like pop rap. That's another okay, the last thing I'll say is a lot of people, when Rolling Papers came out, were like, this is bad, it's just a pop rap album. Yo, what's wrong with... It's a good pop rap album. For what it is, it's fucking good. What's wrong with the term pop rap? Can't you be... Why can't you be a pop rapper? Why not? You know what I'm saying? Let's ask that question. Let's throw that into the conversation, shall we? Anyways, yeah, I'm just yelling at people from 2011. I'm in my room yelling at people from 14 years ago about like a major label stoner rap album. Anyways, so that probably means I should cut this off. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. This has been your man Julian, aka the Cozy Representative. Follow me on TikTok. I'm on TikTok now. There's a link in the description. I'm the Cozy Rep on TikTok. I'm also on Instagram.com/thecozyrepresentative. There's also a link in the bio. And if you want to help support this channel, you can throw some support my way over at my Patreon. I'm the Cozy Representative on there. There's also a link in the bio to that. Thank you to those of you who support the channel on Patreon. It really helps out a lot. Go bump Cushion Orange Juice too. It's summertime now. It's a good time to get baked and listen to Wiz Khalifa. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you next time. Love ya. Peace.